the region and in other parts of the diaspora. Welcome again to the Mid-Morning Buzz. This is the televised edition, and I want to say good morning to our viewers that have just joined us on television. That's GBN's Channel 7, Channel 11, Channel 20 if you are in cable. And those of you that's joined us via the World Wide Web at www.gbn.gd, or you're probably chiming in via our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. Again, good morning to you. It's your boy JC here with you. We're doing the final leg of the Mid-Morning Buzz, the televised edition, today being Thursday. And we find ourselves deep inside of the belly of the people that have literally have a plan for us, a plan for development. And they've been rolling out that plan for the past 50 plus years with fine style. Today we say good morning to the wonderful team inside of the Grenada Development Bank. Good morning, Chris. How are you? She's the one that has been given the reins of power, when I say reins of power, to ensure that she communicates and articulate the goals, the plans, the vision of the GDB. And that is a task she takes quite seriously. Have I introduced our segment quite well? How have I done?
Good morning, Joe. So nice to be on the program again. Good morning to your listeners.
It's always a pleasure having you.
And I did not know that you have songwriting capabilities, man.
Yeah, you have no idea
what I do have to say. I approve of the lyrics very much.
Well, that's what they say. You live, you learn. What I can safely tell you, though, I don't just have it. I have been developing it.
That's yeah. What's in place? You see, words in place. I approve.
And it's nothing to do with my individual skills that I own, but all to do with the people that I keep company of, the folks at the GDB. It's all about development. It's all about development. So we continue to hear development. The question is, can we ever, Chris, exhaust the conversation? And the answer to that is?
No. The answer is a definite no. Because development, it's not a stagnant term, is it? You grow. So first, we grow. We're in a particular situation, we grow. After growth, we need to develop. And there is no end to development. It is a continuous process. So you may, for today or this year of your life, choose to develop your educational prospects. Mm-hmm. You may think, I'm going to do my master's or first degree or a short course, some kind of professional development. And there is that word again. Mm-hmm. So that's what maybe in your 25th year of your life, I'm 25, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to focus on this for the next 3 years. When I'm finished, I'll be 28. After that, I will choose to maybe build a house. That is a form of development. So this takes you another year. After you build your house, you decide, I'm going to probably build a business. And then you continue moving on and on and on, and probably you become a serial entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. So there is no end to development. And I would anticipate that there is no end for Grenada Development Bank either. After you're long gone, Joe, and I'm long gone, Grenada Development Bank is going to continue to develop. Why? Because there is always going to be a population, an economy that need to be developed. So there is no end. After one thing, it's another. If we're not developing education, we're developing the housing sector. If we're not doing the housing sector, we are developing the agricultural sector or the ICT sector, or maybe now climate change. Mm-hmm. Yes. 55 years ago, when Grenada Development Bank was Grenada Agricultural Bank, I don't know that climate change, sustainable development, global warming, resilience were words.
Actually, they were there,
Were concepts.
Climate change literally meant we went from rainy season to dry season.
Well, there you go.
That's what climate change was. Change of weather.
Even the meaning, the context.
Right. It has evolved.
So here we are. We're fighting a different battle now. 55 years ago, we our aim was to develop the agriculture sector. Then that evolved, and I suppose that in itself is a form of development. We've moved from the agriculture sector to housing and education and business. Yes, and now there is that development happening again, that evolvement happening again, where we're looking at climate change and sustainable development. And probably 15 years down the road, there is going to be another hot topic, or let us say another problem to be fixed. You know, so again, your answer is no.
And as the conversation unfolds, there's a lot that, I mean, for those who listen or probably just join in, that we can take away from this. That one, and I'm appreciating that development, it is progressive. There must be a plan. And in the plan, Chris, you would agree, you have to make allowances for contingencies. So yes, while there is the plan, I want to do this at 25, I want to do this but now here we are at COVID. Nobody. So COVID for some reason has halted the country's development agenda, and whether you agree or not, it has affected us in one way or the other. Maybe we were planning to, as you say, go to do a first degree maybe last year, and maybe you thought I'm going to do it in January, but here we are in January, and we're still trying to figure out vaccine and no vaccine. It's all part of the question that when it comes to development, it's not just about building, even let's say you look at it in academic, but it has to be taken in a holistic conversation.
Of course it is, and that's why you have plans and strategies. Yes, but let's not forget, like you rightfully insinuated there, that you can't. Nothing is foolproof. So you can't be ready for COVID-19. You were not ready. It doesn't matter what risk management system you had in place, what crisis communications plan you had in place. You were not ready. We were not ready. The world wasn't ready for this. But you know what? Another form of development happens there. That versatility. That's when it needs to come out.
Right.
That time in your life where you said, listen, this is not working no more. It's not working anymore. We can't do this anymore. We can't just do the telephone calls. We need to start getting on the social media. We can't just stand up in a line and wait for hours. We need to get on the. That is another form of development. Yes, it means, and that's where resilience is the word that comes in. Resilience is not necessarily about bouncing back. It's about being able to make the best of the situation that you're in at the time and get out of it.
Normally, when you hear resilience, you also hear about adaptation.
That's the thing.
So
how is it? Do you get yourself in the frame of mind to accept that this is the hand I'm dealt? So this is how I am going to make the best of it.
Using COVID as a preface, so where we taking the conversation, because very often I know we try to make the language as simple, because we don't want people thinking not just because you're a banking institution that's all you are concerned with. The bank more so. Even if you come and you say to one of your loans officers, I want to do this, I want to do that. They don't just say, okay, you want to do this? Look your money, pay us. But they sit with you. And as we had the conversation of COVID, it's interesting as we talk about development. You know, as part of a developmental strategy and process, you know, a lot of times we do not consider the opportunities that presents itself when a challenge comes to us. And COVID being it. As a development bank, understanding that with every threat, there's an opportunity. What are the opportunities that are available for individuals now that's looking to transition? They may have lost some funding somewhere. Business may have collapsed. They may have lost an opportunity. Now they realize, because I've lost my job, I now have to consider education now, the importance of education. juxtaposing those challenges with what GDB offers, let's talk about development, Agenda 2021, 22, 22, 20, and down the road. What is GDB? Where are we headed now? Without going too much ahead of Mr. Lord's plan.
So on a side note there, based on this Agenda 2021 that you just mentioned, our strategic plan is in its final year this year, and this year is when we're supposed to develop a new strategic plan going forward.
Okay.
Yeah? So we have plans to start doing that really soon. And I like that you said Agenda 2021. I feel like I can see it going up in lights. So I'm going to remember Agenda 2021 when we sit with our stakeholders to discuss our strategy going forward and say, this is a good name. Compliments Joseph Cador, Grenada.
I hope I get introduced into the conversation then.
Like I said, you do have some good ideas. You're good with songwriting. You're good with development of names and captions and headlines. So we may just have a place for you in the stakeholder consultation.
Time will tell.
But back to the questions that you actually asked. Ask about what is available for people who have been negatively affected by COVID-19. And the answer is everything that we offered before COVID-19, we do it still. It is still available to you. Of course, there are terms and conditions that are revised and will be revised and relooked based on an individual basis. But I think I said that last week, and I'm saying it again, it is not a reason for you to stay away because you are unemployed. If you are not a current customer, it is not a reason for you to stay away. If you are a current customer and is currently unable to meet your obligations of repaying your loan. So our education loans are still here. We have our regular education loans that you may not be interested in at the moment because you are not traveling to whichever country you may have thought to a year and a half ago, but we do have a study loan which caters for people who are studying online. We do have our mortgage loans. We have terms and conditions. If it is that you are self-employed, there are things that happens. And the funny thing, Joe, somebody asked me the other day about COVID-19 when we were talking about our green loan. And with the green loan, I mean a renewable energy and energy efficiency loan where we are saying, listen, use less energy, pay less. And the person said, so a loan like this, what advice would you give to persons who are unemployed at this time? And I said, well, this is the perfect time to take a loan like this.
And I can imagine the reaction.
Consider this, Joe. A renewable energy and energy efficiency loan, what it does is minimize the amount of energy you use. We are quite aware that the amount of energy that we use equates cost. Energy equals cost. You use 100,000 watts of energy, you are expected to pay for that amount of energy.
Correct.
Should it be that you are in a financial, let's call it a bubble, and you're unable to meet certain obligations, wouldn't it be nice that you don't have to pay for certain things so that the little money that you have can be allocated to other things? Yes, I see you're shaking your head.
Yeah, because it is a counter argument that at the surface, it doesn't quite add up. You don't see it because you're thinking, hello. But it's an important point that you make, A lot of times when it comes to development, Chris, we do not quite look at the big picture and we don't see it progressively. We do not think about what is the advantage, what does it benefit me if I'm able to no longer pay a particular, let me make sure I don't want to hit nobody. If I can reduce on any of my 3 or 4 overheads that I have every month. So for this morning, I don't know Jan wouldn't mind, I walk into the office and Janelle said, Joe, I'm upset. Jan, what's the problem? My electricity bill has gone up. Okay, Jan. How much is your bill? And she tells me $81. and Chris,
what though?
But And I'm like, Jan, you get a monthly electricity bill of $81. That's the reason we to call Grendel and ask them to find out.
But I have a fix. Jan, I know you're listening, and if you're not, you're going to receive the message. There is a fix. Grenada Development Bank provide loans for renewable energy and energy efficiency purposes. So whatever it is you're doing at home, Janelle, that caused your bill to be all the way up to $81, we've got a fix for you. Come into us, you can receive a loan that will lower that, because there is a renewable source of energy that is there for the use of all of us. It never goes out.
Right.
It's always there.
So why not? Why not?
Why not? And then it will be no more $81. And Joe,
Right.
to switch to Janelle and everybody who's listening at the moment, we are so serious at the bank. We are so serious about the advantages of green, of renewable energy, of energy efficiency, that we have decided that we are going to allow even a lower interest rate for our renewable energy and energy efficiency loans.
No, that's some good news.
A lower interest rate, and not just a lower interest rate, Joe. We are going to give you a massive discount, 75% of bank charges.
Can I get out the phone now? Can we just wrap up the interview now and I just head down to the office?
We can. And this is how serious we are, because it's like you said just now, development, it's not a 2-day situation. It is a situation that goes on. You look at the bigger picture. Yes, you need to pay $12 for an LED bulbs today, but think about not changing that LED bulbs for 12 years, $1 a year.
Right.
You understand? And then the amount of energy that you've saved because you're using an LED bulb. Or a solar panel. The sun hits it up. The sun gives you electricity. There is no cost.
So why not?
You may have paid $500 for your panel. And over a 3-year period, or some people, it might just be 1 year or a year and a half, you pay $500 for your electricity that you've used.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you're not paying that anymore. So you know what happens? You save.
Indeed, it's all about saving. But I want to throw this one at you, because somebody may probably ask, and I'm asking it not in the context of but by extension GDP, but more on the conversation of development, that should the plan for development also include my family as well? So
Yes.
I am 25, and a lot of times we don't take that into consideration. Okay, so I am young, I'm vibrant, I'm going for my first degree. But we're not thinking that as part of the plan should include not just the building of the house, but the plan when I meet Mr. Wright, and then Mr. Wright and I, or Mrs. Wright, we have some little writer ones, so sorry, just running around the house.
I get it.
You get the writer ones, and then the writer ones, they grow up, 18 years passes, then they go off to college, and then you heard your head, oh my God, how am I going to send them off to college? The plan should be comprehensive.
The plan should be a comprehensive one. And if you're looking at, let's take, for example, a life insurance.
Yeah.
Life insurance could be a form of, let's, for the sake of this conversation, say a development plan, a contingency plan, like you said just now. Before the interview, I had someone in my office, we were talking about a mortgage loan, and he said to me, oh, so for the life insurance, it's kind of like when my mom died, we didn't have to bother about paying the loan.
Okay.
Because his mother had life insurance. So upon her death, the insurance ensured that the mortgage was paid so that her children, and God forbid that your children are young and they are not of a working age. You understand? So all of that is part of it. Some life insurance, they come with a savings. attached to it. So every time you pay your life insurance, every month, you would put, whether it's a $50 or $100, whatever it is, towards that savings. If you start when you're 20 and by the time you're 40, your child needs to go to college, guess what you can do with that savings?
Right.
You understand?
It's sitting there.
So sometimes, like you said, it is about the bigger picture. It's not something that you see right away on many occasions. It is not something that you do not have to think about. Sometimes you have to sit and think about it critically, looking at all angles, not because Joe said this or the young lady from GDB said that on the radio. You understand? Yes, it could be taken into consideration for different contexts, different perceptions. You understand?
Right.
But you need to learn what is available for you. You need to learn and understand how this decision affects that decision, whether it is a benefit, whether it is, yes, whether it is doing this way would allow this to happen that way, So there are a lot of things that are to be taken into consideration, and that would, of course, again, affect, whether negatively or positively, the development process. It's not a no for no kind of thing.
Would you agree or disagree? Tell me, what would your position be? That as we explore and we approach this new frontier, that we adapt into this evolution of the adoption, not the adoption, evolution, the whole competition, but development, that it should in some way allow us to refashion the way we think. Because for example, some things in life we see it as a cost, as an expense. So if you, for example, we think insurance, we think renewable loan, we start thinking, another cost again. But should we rethink the way we treat these things and see it more as an investment into my developmental agenda?
Yes, the answer is a definite yes. So, Joe, there are, would I say, core values to development.
Right.
I think we're quite familiar with what core values are. Every time you hear a business, our core values are communication, customer focus, development focus in the case of Grenada Development Bank. So development, and we're looking at development now, global economics, that kind of thing. There are 3 core values to development, right? The first one being your standard of living. This is understood right off the bat. So you are going to get yourself from living in probably, let's say, a Janet house to living in a 2-bedroom house with an inside bathroom and whatever the case may be. It may get you from simply a high school education to college or that kind of thing. So that is the first core value of development. It's your standard of living. Your standard of living should be changed, developed. It should be a higher one than you knew 2 years ago, 1 year ago, how much of a years ago.
Right.
So that's the first core value. The second core value of development is self-esteem. Do you know how it feels when somebody has accomplished something in their life? Whether it is they graduated, that's why these things are celebrated.
Right.
If they graduate, if they buy a new house, some people have housewarming parties, that kind of thing, because it boosts your self-esteem. You're suddenly not Joe, you're Joseph now.
That's right, and I'm happy you got the pronunciation right. Yes.
You can suddenly walk with your shoulders up high. You no longer need to listen to the naysayers. Some people would say, "Hey, she don't know where she come out. She used to live in it." And that's okay.
That's okay.
That's where she used to live. But you know what happened to her?
She's progressed. She's developed. She has advanced.
She has developed. So she has all the right to feel nice in her vehicle driving on the road. She has all the right to put on her pretty suit and her high heels and her designer bag, because that is your self-esteem. So your self-esteem has increased, taken a new look. Right? So that's the second core value of development. The third core value of development, I believe, would answer the question that you asked, which is freedom. Freedom to choose, freedom from being a servant. And when I say a servant, I mean a servant to the situation that you are in at the time.
Right.
You understand? So we are no longer bound to living in that community if we don't want to. We are no longer bound to say, I can't afford life insurance when I know that, yes, it is a good decision to make. I can't afford health insurance. We now have a choice to say, I don't feel like eating rice today. I can afford quinoa.
Fair enough.
Well, you understand what I mean? And that's what we need to look at when we're looking at development holistically.
And important to point to know, because I know there's some people that when you probably made the point about feeling good about yourself. There's a difference between feeling good about yourself and being proud. And we don't want people, because I can see some folks going there all of a sudden. It is a vast difference. There's self-esteem. The way you feel is a total conversation from somebody being proud. Right?
From being proud. And if I am to tell you that I'm humble, then I'm not. You're supposed to see that I'm humble. It's supposed to be something that I exert.
But your achievements...
You're supposed to see me and say, she's very humble. But if you ask me to describe myself and I said I'm humble, like, how?
But if in the midst of your humility, there is an established sense of awareness, there should be, as to the path that I've traveled. And what it should allow you to do is to appreciate taking somebody else there with you.
That's right. Of course. You pass it on, pay it forward.
And it may be in the context of your children, your other family members. If you were able to get something, why not allow your sister to get there? Your brother, your children to get there?
It may be something as simple as doing a presentation for a group of footballers.
Right.
They may leave the session with one single sentence, just one sentence that makes a difference to them.
Indeed, that one sentence that makes a difference to them. And I think, and the more we talk about development, we see people. And I think what we need to do, Chris, is stop worrying about where an individual is, and worry about how can I. Because many times we worry, she have a big house, and we sometimes assume because somebody has a three-story bedroom, that they're living comfortably, and you and I don't appreciate the sacrifices that they're making. So they see,
and you don't see what they pay to the bank at the end of the month.
Yes,
some might be pressed.
They might be pressed
when they receive their pay slip.
But what it does, though, it goes back to being able to make a choice. It's being able to put yourself in a point where, let me decide, rice today. What is it? Quinoa tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to have some whole wheat noodles. Yeah,
that's right.
Because no longer am I just eating.
The day after that, I'm going to have some Ezekiel bread.
Thank you. Why not? Why not?
You're well within your rights.
I'm well within. I remember growing up, my mother used to always say, she says, Joe, children, when you get just your salary, she says, even if you may not be able to eat. I remember in the days when nutmeg was the go-to place on the carnage. She said, listen, when you get your first paycheck, make sure, take a $20 and go buy nutmeg and open your chest and rest your arm outside.
and this is development.
And enjoy the fact that you've completed your work for another month and you are able, even if it's just a one day,
even if it's for
One day. Nobody have to know that you're sucking salt for the rest of the month.
even if you decide, Joe, I had a day off the other day, and I said,
Right.
I'm going to go. I'm going to buy me an ice cream. I'm going to sit in Kamahan Park and I'm going to have my ice cream. I'm going to watch people pass and I'm going to watch the vehicles pass. I'm just going to do that for probably a couple of hours.
Just do me.
And you, I think you've earned it. I
Right.
think you have earned it. Because sometimes we get so caught up in working, doing this, doing that, taking care of the home, taking care of the family. And please do not get me wrong, all of these things,
They have their importance. Yes.
but don't you need a little breathing time? Don't you need a little time to unwind and get your thoughts together? I don't know, plan to take over the world or something?
Pinky in the brain. Miss Campbell. What are we going to do tonight? The same thing we do every day.
Well, you know what it is I'm saying. And
Right.
for me, I was sitting in Kamahan Park and eating an ice cream. But something else may work for someone else. Someone may want a foot massage or a pedicure or a massage. Oh, Andrew, I'm speaking about these things and I'm feeling like I should be lying in a spa right now.
But it is important, Chris, that as we talk about the development, that if we could start with tiny steps, baby steps, because you do not want to get yourself, and while it is okay to dream, dreaming is okay, right? There's a piece, they say Urata, that talks about you don't want to dream and dream too much, but dream within reason. Within reason. You know what? And simple like this. All it may require you, Chris, is to, as you say, take a $6. Do not buy and go to Sugar and Spice and get a waffle cone. Not the regular cones. Yeah, get a waffle cone. So when somebody asks you, what you having today, Joe? I'm having a waffle cone. A waffle cone, really? Why not? And why not for one day in your life? Just allow yourself to.
And sometimes not even a day, probably just an afternoon. Probably just an afternoon.
Yes.
You know, and you condition your mind probably just a couple of hours every month for yourself, that kind of thing. And every month it may be something different. And you said truly that you can start small. Yes, for different people, it would mean different things. It would be different things. And get out of the mindset. We go back to the freedom to choose as one of the core values of development. You don't think that, oh, I can't afford this. Instead, you start thinking, how? How can I?
How can I? And that's where we leave the conversation there 25 minutes onto the hour of 12 o'clock. Not that I can't. Or maybe you can adapt that the Obama, yes, I can. I can. But how? The question is how. Like I often say to people, some people say, but for me, if I face and put place in a challenge, I don't start beating up on myself, Chris. I start thinking, what are my options? What can I do? So it might be a case as we navigate through this COVID period with limited funds. Do not worry that, listen, I can't pay this utility bill. How? What are my options?
Pay half of each.
Maybe pay half of each. Call Grenlec. Say to Grenlec X, Y, and Z. You know you have a loan at GDB. Call your loans officer.
Call your loans officer. Speak with your loans officer. Let your loans officer know what it is that you are going through. I think we spoke about that last week. Let them know this month I can't afford $600, which is the usual payment. I can only afford $300. You'll be surprised by their response, I guarantee you, because that response will be, how can we work with you, Joseph? This is what I can do. These are your options. GDB is here for you in more ways than one.
GDB is there for you in more ways than one. And very often, folks, you make information that is ill-advised because you sit in a place of ignorance, not knowing. Knowing is a power to make a choice, make a decision that is an informed one. And that's where we leave that conversation for now. We're going to continue to develop our thought process. But it'll give you a week, though, the good Lord's willing, where you sit at home and think about, how do I take my life to the next level? Whether or not it is true with the help of GDB, the help of family, maybe I have a lot of land, maybe I want to become an entrepreneur. You don't know. But
maybe you want to go to Green Route and take advantage of a special 75% off bank fees and even a quite a lower interest rate on renewable energy and energy efficiency loans. Whatever option it is you choose, Grenada Development Bank, we are here. We are willing, we are ready, we are waiting to serve you. We are located on Melville Street in St. George's, and we can be reached on Facebook at Grenada Development Bank. You can give us a phone call on 440-2382. Our WhatsApp number is 405-3242. Call us, send us a message. There is no reason why you should not be reaching out to Grenada Development Bank.
No reason why you cannot reach out to the Grenada. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, something just decided to want to mess up my allergies. I don't know. My allergy, something has developed in here now. I don't know what it is, but it's not the kind of development I really appreciate right now, where it wants me to get all sneezy and teary-eyed on national TV.
The news is up next. Are you reading the news?
No, I'm not. I think it should be with Chrislina, but it's a good way to remind you of the time. It is 22 minutes on to the hour. Reminding you that the top of the hour is going to be the midday edition, a production of our News and Current Affairs Department, and will be presented by Chrislina John. Until so long. Peace and love. JC loves you. Continue to do what you do and try to find the next best version of yourself through development, positive thinking, and keeping some good friends around you. Bye, Chris. So long. Peace and love. For those of you that is on radio, we continue forward march. We take a quick commercial break, though, and we'll be right back right here on Classic in the Morning Time. Classic 105.5 and 105.9.